aloha pu mehana kākou o wau ke i o Manu Boyd. Pehea oe e mehana o ka lā.
O mai ka i wale no. Oi.
Regular,
Sure. Hiki no. Aloha to all of you out there, again, joining us for another episode, another Friday spent here with Manu and Mehana o ka lā as we do Midday Manaʻo. Of course.
That's the M's, yeah?
That's
Midday
the M's.
Manaʻo.
That's how you call us. That's our secret mating call. Oh, no, it's not a mating call.
Mating
No,
call.
yeah. We're not mating.
It's almost Halloween, so it's like M&M's.
It is like M&M's. Two times. One with peanut, one just chocolate.
Anyway, aloha pu mehana kākou and
We'd like to send a shout out to our sponsors, of course, the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement and also the Kaiser Permanente Community Benefit Fund. Mahalo nui for sponsoring all of these shows that we bring to you every avakea on Po Alima. And today, we're wearing headphones today. You guys haven't seen us do this in a while. But it's because we have a special guest in the house. Today, we have from the island of Kauai, beaming in through Zoom, Kaina Makua, of course, the head of Kūmano and also Aloha Aina Poi Company, and our very own Davis Price, who's here. And we are going to be talking about Kalo today. One of my favoriteest things in the world. Yes, favoriteest is a word. Look it up. Favoriteest. Yeah. So aloha kaina on Kauai. Where are you at on Kauai right now?
Waimea Kauai.
In Waimea, Kauai.
Hawaii ula iliahi o Waimea.
Yeah, on the beautiful side. Actually, don't tell
the hot side.
The hot side. Yeah, that's why it's beautiful. And aloha, Davis. How you doing today?
Good. Happy to be here. Mahalo.
Awesome. One of the things that got us, connecting with you folks today is, our policy team here said, you know that October is Kalo Appreciation Month? And we was like, no. I never heard of that before. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that before, but it was established by the legislature in 2013. And we was just like, okay, well, if the legislature established that in 2013, it was a direct result actually of the Kalo Task Force that happened around that time where, dozens and dozens of people came together to be able to talk about the well-being of Kalo. And our people. So we bring you this show today to focus on Kalo and food systems. And these two brothers right here who are in the lepo, right, in the lo'i, doing that work.
But Mehana,
yes.
that, and we all should probably agree that every month is Kalo Appreciation Month.
Absolutely.
Just like every month is Mahina o Aloha Hawaii and all of that. But as you said before, it brings focus.
Yeah, and less than 2% of the lands here in Hawaii are in Kalo cultivation, right? At a time of contact, we are still in cultivation today. 20,000 acres in 1778 to only 310 acres today. That's a problem. Why is that a problem, guys? Inform the people. Why is that a problem? Why should we have more acres?
I see opportunity.
Okay.
Actually, it is a problem. But what do you think, Kaina?
No, I agree with what David said. Waimea was one of the places Captain Cook came, and 1778. And Davis and I, we talk about this a lot. He talked about how pristine Waimea was. Yeah, 9 miles deep into the valley had food. And he would refer it to the bread basket, possibly of Hawaii. I mean, we get 14,000 acres of land on the west side and more that is not being farmed, not just by Kanaka, but there's no Kalo. Yeah, there's seed companies. At one time was sugar plantation. Mm-hmm. So looking at the potential, like Davis and I always going off at it, there's a lot of potential for Kalo and feeding our people. And I think we gotta, try and take advantage of that.
Davis, can you expand on that idea of potential? Like Kaina said, there is acres,
Right.
There's acres and acres. It went through this cycle of sugar, right? And now it's seed plants. And none of those really feed a population, right? They feed industry, they feed commerce somewhere else, but they don't really feed people. Why is that so important in this day and age?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to flip the script on you guys a little bit
Sure,
real quick.
sure.
I'm going to ask you folks a question.
Okay.
When you think about food systems or Kalo, who are the kupuna, living, not living, any era that come to mind?
About Kalo?
For Kalo?
Kalo, food systems.
Uncle Eddie.
Uncle Eddie.
Uncle Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uncle from Kaina Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
Harry
Henry
Mitchell.
What about you, Kaina?
To be honest, I was asked this question years ago in an interview. And they asked me who is my hero. And I would have to say Mano Kalanipo. Mano Kalanipo, because when he was alive, everybody thrived. It wasn't just the royalty.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just certain people. It was Kanaka, it was Maka'ainana, it was everybody. They all had eat on the same table, so to speak. And how we bring that mindset back is going to be a struggle, because we're dealing with water rights, we're dealing with lazy people, we're dealing with kids going in one direction where technology is taking over, and we're forgetting about the simple values that our people once had.
Yeah. And
I mean, and us here, we all understand it, but the kids coming, the next G, they don't see them because they're not around it.
Let me just say one thing, because you mentioned that about Mano Kalanipo, and I think that a lot of our audience, and especially maybe the kids or Opio, Aole Lako Kama Aina, and when we talk about Hawaiian mele and Hawaiian poetry, the islands are all remembered for specific ali'i at different times. O ahu o kakuhi heva, moku o keave for Hawaii, Maui o pi'ilani, Maui a kama. But Mano Kalanipo, just for you folks, just to remember, is considered one of the most successful ali'i in land management.
Oh, yeah.
And that, I think all of them were good managers of people, of land, of their akua, of their ho'omana, and all of that. So mahalo for saying that. Yeah. So Mano Kalanipo, and we also refer to your island as Kauai o Mano. So mahalo nui ya'oi.
Yeah, mahalo for sharing that, Manu. And just to expand on that a bit, so food systems, the reason why I asked that question is because it is a mindset. Part of the challenge of why we only see 310 acres in production today versus 20,000 at Western Contact. From what I've learned on working with Kaina over the years and multiple Aina-based organizations that are scattered throughout Hawaii, and Kanaka doing the work to restore spaces that were centered on food systems. And, when you think about, all these discussions happening around food systems today, especially since the pandemic, it causes me to look back to Mano Kalanipo, that period prior to Western Contact, because of the history, like Kaina explained in Waimea, where this once was abundance existed. Abundance once existed in that space and throughout Hawaii. And that is because, in large part, of the ali'i who were remembered from those times. Mano Kalanipo, Maili Kukahi, Umi Aliloa. These were the ali'i that were revered. And a lot of it is, and the reason why they were revered and remembered is because they developed these systems. Or in Umi Aliloa's case, he's remembered because he took care of the people. Those are the examples that we should be looking to as we try to solve this food systems issue.
That's a great. Why go that far back? And we talked about this a little earlier, and I just wanted you to we have an audience out there that kind of maybe needs to hear it a little bit clearer. Because for me, what you just explained is that chiefly leadership, or the type of leadership that we need today, right, has to be grounded in the kind of abundance that food systems produces, right? So there's all kind of ways to malama resources, right? And the examples that you're giving, and our kupuna, Maili Kukahi, me and Manu's kupuna, also here on Oahu, you know, they were the ones that managed resources. And that is what gave them the mana of this longevity that we still not only remember their names, but remember the lessons that they taught about that. But what is that? What would be your tagline, your elevator speech, you know, about that kind of leadership?
Elevator speech.
Talk to the leaders of today. Right.
And that's really what it's about, right? Is getting our decision makers on board. And I think the what I would start with is another kupuna, Hāloa. And it starts with, you know, when we talk about food systems, it's such a complicated, I've been in so many conversations and meetings and strategy planning sessions where you get all these different components because it is a complex system. Yep. And so constantly trying to think about how do we actually drill down to a starting point, right? So where we can actually transform our food system to achieve sustainability and hit all these goals that the decision makers set, right? We want to go farm to school by 50% local by 2030. We want, you know, local food production, you know, consumption to be 50% by 2035. Whatever these milestones are set. And how do we, in the conversations that I've been in, like, that's not a path that's clear. And so for us, you know, working with Kaina and just as Kanaka, I think Hāloa is our starting point. And that Hawaiians have to lead this food systems transformation initiative, starting with Malama Hāloa. And because that is the foundation of a thriving system. And that's what our history tells us. Right. And Hāloa, and the evidence is clear when you go into any space where Hāloa is thriving. What do you see? You see healthy aina.
Water.
You see abundant water.
I
and you see healthy
really,
kanaka. That is the core to any food system. Once that's established, then we can do the other crops. Lettuce gonna come easy. Carrots gonna come easy. Hāloa, he gonna make us work.
Wait, say that one more time. Say that one more time, because I think people will see land and see a whole bunch of lettuce growing on it, right? And be like, hey, it's in proper, you know, the land is thriving. There's food there, right? But talk about that, because you said no. If you do Hāloa first, right, and take care of that staple crop, then the others will come easy. There'll be space for them somewhere, but we got to take care of this first.
Like anything we do, and I'm gonna hand off to Kaina right now, but like we got to have a kahua. That's our cultural training, right? You got to have that foundation, and Hāloa is our foundation. And I think he asking us, waiting for us for fight for him, and that's what we're doing. And then you're gonna see that reciprocal relationship really start to take off.
So I have,
Once you get, hold on, Kaina. Well, go ahead.
Well, to Kaina, I want to throw this out to you as well, because Mehana just mentioned vai, and which is integral in any growing of anything, growing of kanaka, growing of Hāloa. You know, on Hawaii Island, we think of Hi'ilave and Waipio Valley, and also Kohala and the water, the diversion. Maui, we talk about Nawai Eha, which is an issue now. On Oahu for years and years, the Waiahole, Waikane, and the Makawai group and all that, and trying to bring the water back to where it's supposed to go. But Aolebo kama aina me ko'oko maumea makauai kamawai lualani Kauai o Mano. So what is Kauai's story about water diversion and getting it back?
So yeah, as most of us know, the plantation days, there was actually diverting 50 million gallons of water a day back in the plantation days. 50 million gallons. Fast forward to now, I think it was 2013. A bunch of our farmers in the valley and some residents got together with Earth Justice and trying to bring back or really stop the diversions from continuing, because they're taking water and now it's 20 million gallons a day, taking it to Manaʻo And if you've ever drove from Waimea to Polihale, it's about 17, 18 miles stretch of road. And you look towards your left and your right, you will not see anything planted. Yet, 20 million gallons of water is being diverted every day from the biggest watershed in the state of Hawaii, which is Waimea. Is there a problem? Yeah, because food not being farmed. Farmers are not being farmed. You know, so how do we change the narrative? Yeah, we got to start at the water. You should start with Hāloa, because like David said, anything can. If you can farm Kalo for 1 year, I give you 1 year. If you can farm Kalo and get one solid product out of them, of your hard work, because you're gonna sweat, you're gonna cry, you're gonna be on your knees, you're gonna be hurting. But if you can do that for 1 entire year, you can do anything.
Is that, Kaina, is that why you started Kūmano and Aloha Aina Poi Company? From that foundation?
I just never like my 9 to 5.
And you are, because you graduated Kamakaku, right? Got your master's in education, so you're super credentialed and have your degrees and so forth, and could have been teaching in a classroom, but you decided to take that into the lo'i. You decided to make your training ground for the work that you do with youth straight into the Aina and straight into the lo'i. Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit?
That was one of part of my dissertation when I wrote my master's thesis. Sorry, not dissertation, master's thesis. It was, everybody was talking about, we got to bring more culture to the classroom. And in my thesis, I wrote, culture should be the classroom.
Right. That's right.
Aina should be our class. It is our classroom as the best teacher to learn from. And so in leaving my 9 to 5, 2014, I took my kids was young, and they was my students, and Aina was our teacher. So we would go lo'i every day, and there was probably 1 and 2 or 1 and 3. And I mean, if you look at my kids now, you can be the judge of if it worked or not. And they can, at 15 and 12, they can run the farm 22 acres on their own.
Yeah.
Gotta be. They can run out of machinery. And I mean, there's so much variables I can talk about, but we have forgotten, with this new generation coming and many more to come, we've forgotten that how we were raised is the reason why we're great people and good human beings. But that's a generation that may not have anymore because we're forgetting to give them to the next. People tell me, oh, wow, child labor, you take all these kids to the farm. I said, you damn right. You freaking damn right. What child labor going to teach you respect, humility, hard work, and work ethic?
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
That's all you need to survive. The rest going to come.
Totally.
But we're forgetting about that. We're forgetting about that. And I'd like...
I wanna give a shout out to Kamakaku o Kalani. And in our culture, in our ku'una, ku'una Hawaii, we remember the kuhi pu'uone. And the kuhi pu'uone were the ones who decided what was going to go where. And for some reason, Kamakaku o Kalani's Center for Hawaiian Studies at the University of Hawaii at Manaʻo was put there at Kanewai. And I think that probably impacted you. I know it impacted me as a graduate of that school as well.
Oh, yeah.
And kako. But I'm going back to, again, Harry Mitchell from Ke'anai Maui. And when that Papa Lo'i o Kanewai was redone or reawakened, because Manoa, another, Waimea, Kauai o Mano, that's a huge watershed. Manoa is too, and Oahu in general is as well. But when Uncle Harry came down, and this is at the same time as the Hui Alaloa and the Protect Kaho'olawe Ohana, all those things were happening. And I was probably still in high school, and I eventually, I graduated from from college way after I should have, but that's why I look so young. Yeah. Anyway, but putting the Center for Hawaiian Studies, Kamakakuokalani Center, right there at Kanivai is a major thing to get into the mind into the keano o ka no'ono'o o kako po'e o pio, because you see it every day, and not everybody sees that. And mahalo ya oi ya olua ya oko for your hana ma kauai, but there's something about that lo'i at Kanivai
Absolutely.
that you see it every day, and it reminds us of who we are, who we were, and who we will be.
And just, if I can jump in there, I think about it all the time. That's where Kaina and I met, Kamakakuokalani and Mehana.
with
She's
you
our
guys.
advisor. Like, this is like Poika Pico time right now. But,
Yeah.
Actually, it was the Lo'i Kalo class there taught by Po,
Yeah.
where,
Yeah.
if that class was broken down into like traditional, cultural piece where you learn about Kalo significance, but then there was a commercial Kalo component of that class. And I remember that when I was taking the class, like I didn't even think about growing a commercial industry
As a
around
commodity.
Kalo.
Yeah.
So like that really planted the seed, and like there was part of the class where we had to,
You had to come up with your own recipes.
make our own recipes,
Yeah.
prepare Kalo in different ways.
Right.
Like that really, Kamakakuokalani really, like you said, planted the seed in a lot of ways.
And you see it every day. when you're
Absolutely.
there.
And
So
that's what I mean. When you see that
nui kela.
space like that,
Yeah.
where Kanaka is thriving, Hāloa is thriving, that's the evidence that there's opportunity when we see data that shows only 310 acres in production versus 20,000. Well, that acreage is still out there. And if I can, maybe kind of use that to segue. Another,
Right.
and this, well, not segue, but bring up another important piece related to Kamakaku. That's where a lot of us, got our chops doing community, at least for me, organizing work, activism, defending our spaces. It really set me on a trajectory for the rest of my life's work. And, often, and, people will say, well, it's where, all the activism that came out of there. And absolutely, it is activism. And really what this project represents, and other projects, right? But, being around and part of Kaina's work to build what he's doing there on Kauai really represents the next evolution of that activism. It's 50 years of, I'll speak to water cases specifically. If you have 30 years of litigation to restore stream flows for Kalo farmers, and that's an investment that our community as a whole makes, what's next? Right? So if you're fighting to defend that and protect those resources and restore those resources, what are we doing to invest in those resources to thrive? Right, so it's not okay. Now the water flow it's not ideal, but stream flows have been restored. Now what are we doing to invest in an industry around Kalo? And that's where I think we're headed. And so, this is another form of resistance. When we look at Kauai specifically, Waimea specifically,
Battleground Zero. Yeah.
You have Battleground Zero for GMO seed companies, right? That was a big battle that tore that community apart. And often, as I start, kind of dove into this and I'm doing research, I'm thinking like, oh man, okay, this is perfect, because you have a microcosm of this constant power struggle and friction happening right there. And so what this is the alternative. So when the community or the decision makers say, well, these are our jobs. We need this because it's our jobs. What are we doing to create other jobs? Right? Because we know that those entities came to Kauai and to Hawaii because our land is fertile and abundant.
Right.
They can't replicate that anywhere else. Sugar, the first sugar mill was in Kauai.
Yeah, Koloa.
Right. And so, and they documented at that time, they were there because they could double the yield of anywhere else on Earth. Right. So they run their course. They exploit the land, the resources, create jobs. And then when it gets too expensive, they pack up and bail.
Yeah.
Right.
Then the GMO companies come in to fill that void.
Right.
And they are growing little pockets of land to experiment. the most abundant land on earth, documented by all of these entities. Captain Cook said it. Our people knew it because they created.
And then within Hawaii, Kauai o Mano, again, Wai Ale Ale and all that. I want to say one thing about that, because I'm not sure that, again, the younger audience really realizes this. But our whole Aupuni Mo'i was overthrown because of sugar, because of the value of sugar on the continent, during the Civil War and the Reciprocity Treaty and all of that. And so, and that was, sweet, get it? Sugar. But and not to make light of that, but sugar came and sugar went and sugar's gone. And the water that went was taken from the natural flow of the Kawaiakane. It was Waiahole, Kohala, and as you say, Waimea too. And it's gone. So one other, just a quick comment. No. And you know how I hate to chime in, yeah, Mehana.
Sorry, cut me off anytime. I go off on tangents.
You folks don't know this.
Oh, yeah, he's so shy.
I'm very hila.
So shy.
And I don't like to be in front of people. I like to be under my pohako, under my rock. But anyway, just as a he ha'awina keia no kākou is the reason why so many place names in Hawaii begin with the word vai. Waimea, Waikane, Waiahole, Wailupe, Waianai, and all of that is because that's where water is, and that's where it belongs. And not only does it feed the lo'ikalo, the auai, and the auai is a whole nother thing. I mean, the genius of our poe kupuna. How to, and you talk about water diversion. No, our kupuna did that well, but it also goes into the ocean. And then it creates a waihapakai, the brackish water, half salt water, half fresh water, and that's where fish and limu and all of that, that's where the ola. And so anyway, so this is a great conversation. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm just gonna as
all that background is,
yeah.
We take for granted all of that cultural foundation, those pieces.
Yeah. Oh, well, mahalo nui, but I just think that. But anyway, back to you, back to Olua.
I had a question for you, Kaina. You're based in Waimea on the west side of Kauai, right? You have both a Kūmano, right, which is where you do a lot of the nonprofit type of work, the teaching, working with youth, and so forth. And then you have Aloha Aina Poi Company, which is a business. How do you balance? I want to go just for a second, jump into, go kind of narrowly focused, and then we'll jump back out to the food system stuff, because I don't think we're finished with that yet. But I just wanted to catch that before we go off in that direction. How is that? How is that kind of managing both this, this educational endeavor, right, and really trying to help the youth, like you said, and then also being an entrepreneur, which is not an easy task.
I mean, when you get people like Davis, my other half, she's running the poi mill now. I just deal with the farmers. I try and help as much as I can with all of our farmers. But initially, when we first started off, was pretty brutal. I was going to the poi mill 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. And as soon as we were done, maybe 12 o'clock, I'd go straight to the farm, try and run programs for kids, after-school programs, summer programs, all the intercessions. And that was probably the hardest time. But, all of this really, I wanted to, and it's selfish of me, but I tell this to everybody, I wanted to make a professional paddling team. Not lying.
I saw you guys at the Europe London World Sprints. World Sprints.
Right. Yeah. So that was the objective back then, and so the canoe club is really the incubator for getting all these youth, because they're competitive. Yeah. All the same values that we've talked about, you have that in Hoiwa'a. So I could get them to come, and once they got into Hoiwa'a, we would bring them to the farm. And a lot of them, we have about 5 of them now. They work almost full time with the Poi Company and the nonprofit, but they all came through this same
it's funny, and you talk about creating a hui hoi va'a, and because in Tahiti, that shell, what's is the company?
Yeah,
Yeah, and so I know that no one's really listening, and this is our little pu'u honua here. We're not talking out loud, but why not? Why not have a competitive team of hoi va'a that is that also then has other kuleana, or without even knowing it, you can bring them in, and you sit number 1, and you steer, and you number 5 and 3 and 4, and they don't even know, but
right.
They don't know they're eating the palu.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the genius of Keakamai aka Hawaii.
Ai, akamai loa oi kaina for that. That's such a great way to engage youth, engage kids, right? Take their natural competitive nature and their physical attributes. Also build that up, right, to build healthy kanaka. Right, and introducing, ocean, and you're basically taking care of mauka and makai with that too, right? And you guys not maybe lavaia, but these kids, I bet you not. They understand the ocean better than anybody, and okay,
and how to understand the ocean is get in the ocean.
Right.
You get in a va'a and you go out, you go way past the buoy, and you're doing long distance or sprints or whatever. That's how I gotta say. I know I wasn't gonna say anything else.
See, I told you he only lasted 2 minutes. Everybody,
wait, I know.
2 minutes.
I'm so sorry.
Before he started talking
I probably
again.
owe
2 minutes.
CNHA some kala. I want to just talk about the poetic kanani o ke hui pu'ana o kākou. That your name is Kaina is actually, that's very prophetic. I mean, honest to God, and we're talking about.
And his last name
Hāloa.
is Makua.
Oh my God! Well, I'm writing the script over here.
Okay.
No, but no, this is something, and we all go back to Kamaka Kua Kalani. We learned this from Lili Kala and from Haunani and from all of our kumu. But the relationship between the kaikaina or the kaina, and the kuaana. And so the younger sibling and the older sibling, this is something that is of value for all of our lahui that we need to remember. And it was ingrained in us. But the fact that you support Kalo production, ka'ai aka Hawaii, and sometimes we have to ai pohaku, but other times we have to ai Kalo pa'a. But the fact that your name is, and then you interject the Kaina Makua to Kaina and Hāloa. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Mahalo. That's a lovely moment that the kano'o no mai nā puna mai.
And the farming, you're just like creating, your kalo is all your babies, all those kids that you bring, and you take them again, both to the mauka, lo'i, and the makai into the va'a. You're growing healthy kids, the next healthy generation of kanaka for us, and showing a model.
I think this year had kind of topped them off. I've been doing this for 10 years, like the coaching, and this was one really amazing year for not just our team but all of our youth. We had about almost 90 paddlers this year.
Wow.
And almost all of them go to our summer program.
Wow.
And let me just elaborate a little bit more. Our summer program, this is how it's ran every day. The kids come to us 8 o'clock. From 8 to 9, my daughter, not me anymore, teach Hawaiian language to all of these guys. 9 to 12, they work in the lo'i. For whatever they're doing, they eat up harvesting, huki kalo, cutting kalo, whatever, cooking them, whatever. Pulling weeds. And then they get 1/2 an hour to an hour break. 1 to 2, work again. Take another break. At 3 o'clock, they all train. All the way to 7:30. Wow. And this year, we've won 2 state championships. Got second in 1, third in 1, fourth in 1. And I believe it's a testament to them going to the lo'i and working. But that's just me. But the values that we can instill in our kids are still possible. But somebody, like the group that I have, the team that we have, they got to be willing to do that and spend the time with those kids, because they are different by this generation.
Yeah.
but it's possible.
Yeah.
You know,
Mahalo,
back to canoe paddling and Kauai. I'm thinking about Maui at this point over here. So in the family of Kahikili and Kekaulike and then and all of that, Kaeokulani was a son of Kekaulike who goes to Kauai and actually becomes the Ho'ovili Piko o Nali'i. But I mentioned him because his niece, among his nieces, Ka'ahumanu, but the other is Kaheihe Malie.
Oh, yeah.
Kaheihe Malie, to me, it reminds me of paddling, and that's like the easy Malie kind of canoe race. You know, when you get to the point that you are so skilled at what you do that even Hei Va'a, it becomes kind of malie. You just go. If you can get the stroke right once, you can do it 1,000 times if you get it right. Ho'omaikai oko. So from the family of the Ali'i family from Maui Ma to Kauai Kaeokulani, and we talked about Mano Kalani Po, all the way down to Kamakahele. Kamakahele is the chiefest of Kauai at the time of the arrival of, whatever, Kapeta Kuke, But, and for all of you Wahine out there, and this is a shout out to you, Mehana Okala, is that she was an example. She was they didn't really use the term mo'i back then. What Ali'i Nui, Ali'i Aimoku, and she, a woman, was the ruler of Kauai, and Kauai is all about water. It goes back to Hi'iyaka and Halau Hanalei Ika Nini Aka Ua Kūmano ke po'owai aka liko naha ka opi vai a vai aloha o ke kahi koe ahiki vai oli. And all of these words from Hi'iyaka were female words about life and water. And there's Kamakahele, and here we are today. And your daughter, and O'oe e Mehana.
No, mahalo, Manu.
I just want to bust them out.
Yeah, look at you.
Beautiful.
Look at you. Nani.
Beautiful.
Yeah, nani.
But hey, and why can't we celebrate that? That's
Absolutely.
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 Oh yeah. Yeah. So what's next? We're rounding out our show right now. Oh my God, we could talk forever. Our kumus at Kamakaku are
you always cutting
so
us
proud.
short? She always does this, and I have all day. I get long lunch hour. No, but
What's next for you folks? What's next on the agenda?
Well, I would say, think about what's next for the Lahui. I'm always, my mind is constantly in that system zone and the food systems and bridging my background with public policy work and advocacy and, what I've learned through working so closely with this project over the years. It's trying to translate that to create this opportunity of abundance for our community who wants to take that next step in our fight for protection of our resources and sacred practices and our food. We can be, and this is the uncomfortable zone, right? We're going to take this Kalo farming and start talking about it, and Kalo start talking about it as an industry. And once that mindset starts to catch, I believe now we will assume our role as Hawaiians, building on the foundation that was set before us from Kawamua, those ali'i that we talked about, what they've left in us, which is this knowledge that abundance can exist in ways that are important to us,
right,
and that we can carry on that kuleana of feeding people, not just the mea'ai, but feeding people, everything that Kaina talking about.
Right.
And we will assume that role of leadership in transforming our food system. I'm just going to throw out some data and see part of this is, I work closely on this project because we get laughed at. When we say we want to do Kalo, 10 years ago, talking to various people, are you trying to get land here on Oahu? I was thinking about how to do agriculture here and having conversations and like, oh, Kalo, haha.
Right.
Yet we see Kalo highlighted in all the commercials,
right,
marketing,
right.
It's beautiful. It's very nostalgic.
Campaigns. You gotta have a
right?
Kalo
but
image in
when
there.
we talk about it in their language, which is business, they're like, oh, haha, No
Right.
can. Okay, so now what's this generation say? We're gonna come with receipts. So you get 8 years of work.
Right.
We're gonna come with the receipts.
Right.
You like see balance sheets, the financials. We're gonna show you this can be done. This can be done. So we're not gonna accept laughing at us anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe what leadership, I guess, well, I'm just gonna throw one more statistic out there. Food system. Projections are the food system in Hawaii's economy represents about $8 billion.
Wow. That's what's
Kalo.
created in Hawaii?
Yeah, that's the money we're talking about in our
Okay.
food system.
Okay.
Now that leads me to many questions, right? Well, what is our food system? Because we actually feed 10 million additional pre-pandemic
Right.
tourists. 10 million people show up every year. That's 10 million more bellies we're talking about feeding. So when we get told, oh, Kalo farmers no can supply enough, are we talking about, who are we talking about feeding?
Right.
And where is all this food coming from
Right.
that is feeding these people?
Right.
And how do we start to carve out? Again, you know, Kalo, 310 acres versus 20,000 acres.
Yeah.
Kalo represents maybe a few $1 million as part of that $8 billion. That's a problem, but I see opportunity as well. So we're going to start chipping away at all the excuses and all the reasons why we're told no can. And eventually, maybe, we might have to bring that same energy that you saw on the Mauna, on the Ala Kupuna,
All right.
to an agricultural site near you.
Right.
And when that happens,
Right.
then we're going. I'm not being prophetic
Get action.
saying it's going to happen,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it
no.
could, and
Oh,
we're
definitely.
working towards
Oh,
that, and that might be what it takes,
Right.
and we ready. So all that kamakaku, all the learning we've done, it's
Right.
all converging
Right.
Right.
to take this struggle
Yeah.
to the forefront for Hāloa.
You know,
Because
before Mehana cuts us off, you know, I'm gonna
cut you
interject. I'm so sorry. E kala mai, you know, e hui kala mai no hoi. I want to talk about thinking of Davis over here, but George Hueu Kanahele Davis Kanahele. George Kanahele was he wrote a book about Waikiki, about the Kalo and Oahu's experience, and we understand Maili Kukahi and then Kaina Makua, and they were all expert water managers. But what he talks about the economy of Kalo and why that Ohana moved the whole government from Waialua into Honolulu, Waikiki in particular, and Waikiki, another Vai name, spouting water. But he talks about the economy of Kalo, and because Oahu fed so many people, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, ma Oahu nei, but with a depopulation because of disease, is that all of those thousands of acres of Lo'i Kalo, they call the Haole word is fallow. They went fallow. They went there's muddy and mosquitoes and what. But it describes that, and then our Chinese cousins came and they started planting rice and then watercress, which is good with mayonnaise, by the way, but mayonnaise is not good for our lahui. Yeah. Anyway, but read that book. It's about Waikiki history and the economy of Kalo and where we're at right now. And all of you who go eat rice all the time, eat poi.
Oh, yeah.
And
We
if
gotta
you
do
eat
a
poi,
part
you
two.
become more handsome.
We do got to do a part 2 because actually me and Davis was just talking about this before the show started about how the rapid depopulation of our people, the genocide that happened to our people, genocide, clear, okay? I want to make it clear. There's a genocide that happened to our people from ships bringing diseases, known. They knew they were bringing diseases to Hawaii, right? And killed off the majority of our population, right, from an estimated 1 million at the time of contact in 1778, and a little over 100 years later, it goes down to only 39,000, 40,000
Right.
in 1893, right? So you see this mass land just not being productive, but
tended
not
to.
right, and not for the laziness of a people.
the
It was
myth.
because we were dead.
Yes.
right?
But-
There are
But
people
remember, too,
were
this happened
removed
around the
because
world.
of that.
But
Right,
Hawaii is a
right.
great example of that depopulation.
I mean, it's a horrible
and,
example.
And kaumaha no ho'i ke ala.
Oh yeah.
Right, and think about we got to do a part 2. But think about all the narratives that came out of that.
Yes.
Right? So the only food system to ever exist sustainably in Hawaii was our food system. All those ali'i created.
Aye.
The Aupua'a system, and the Auai and the Kona field system. Marvels of agriculture.
I was going to say kona huala lai.
Right? Marvels
That's
of
a whole nother
agriculture.
story.
Experts beyond masters.
Right.
Okay. Then contact happens. The effects of colonization are really the workforce disappears. And then this narrative gets created that Hawaiians are lazy.
Yes.
That allows the colonizers to grab up all this land.
Yeah.
And now this is part 2. We got to come back because now we're getting into it's time for
And sugar gone.
yes.
And now what?
Yes.
You know what? Yeah. Go ahead,
All right,
Kaina.
wrap it up, Kaina.
Yeah, go ahead, Kaina.
So we're talking about what's next for us. We have some pretty good answers to how to make what we do in farming Kalo, feeding the people, successful. Because we've been through hell and back. And ideally, anybody get questions and they learn. They build what we been trying to build. We can talk, Eventually, we just give you a blueprint, pass it on, and take it. Because everybody think that, we got to be competitive because get poi here, get poi there. It doesn't even matter. The objective is to feed our people. And buying poi for $15 a pound is ridiculous. Straight. The more poi we get, we all going to eat. We all going to get money. We all going to have exactly what we need. So sharing was the way of our kupuna. And that's how we should continue to.
Oh man, Kaina. Mahalo. Nani ke kalo, ika oha. Really, I'm learning a lot today that this conversation about Kalo and about Hāloa is really about bringing about strong and healthy families, to persist through into our future, and that's what you guys doing. All of you out there, if you want to see more of Kaina and Davis and the work that they do, check out their social media handles. Aloha Aina Poi Company. I don't think Kūmano has one, yeah?
Kūmano Ikeala.
Okay, Kūmano Ikeala. Also, both for your old people. I'm sure they're on Facebook too. And I'm talking about us. I'm talking about me. Then I'll just talk about me. Okay. I love Facebook. But for all you youngins, right? I know that they're on Instagram. So follow their work, support their work any way you can, and order some Aloha Aina Poi Company poi on the island of Kauai. They're in all the stores. And here on Oahu, they have delivery dates on Thursdays, I know, and then you can get them shipped to wherever you are in the world too. So eat more Kalo. They launched a campaign back in the day called No Rice. What? Team No Rice. Team No Rice. Hashtag Team No Rice. Still going. Eat Kalo, baby. And they make the most honest food. You guys gotta do pop-ups somewhere. I eat you guys, but along with the 20 million other things that you guys doing, Mehana eat. But we will do a part 2 because what's coming up soon is the legislative session, right? And we probably have some call to actions, specifically surrounding Kalo and food systems. So stay tuned for that. We will be bringing back the two of them to discuss more about what it is that us Kanaka can do to affect what it is that we talked about today, right? Positively.
I think a premise though for the session, and as we said, very simply earlier, sugar came, sugar is gone. And that was why all of our water was diverted all over the place. So put it back.
Right. Simple. That's going to be the next one.
So because it was stolen and pono e ho'i i ka wai.
Hashtag.
How
put
simple
it back.
is that?
Put the water back.
Ho'iwai.
Yeah. Ho'i ka wai. Land back.
Easy
too.
Mali.
It's all connected.
Again, from all of us here at Midday Manaʻo, our staff here at the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, also our friends over at Kaiser Permanente and the Community Benefit Fund, we mahalo all of you for joining us. This was a great show. Go tell all your ohana about this show, and you can always watch it on our YouTube channels, on our website at hawaiiancouncil.org/videos, I think, podcasts. And then come check us out on TikTok. Yes, we are on TikTok, Manu.
I have to remind
Scary.
you, I don't work for these people. Okay?
Oh yeah, he doesn't work for
I work
us.
for Kamehameha School.
Yeah.
He's independent.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's the
but
only
I'm here
reason
at
why we
lunchtime,
gotta
okay?
cut the show is
But-
because Manu gotta get back to work. It's only on his lunch break.
But
yeah.
nui ku aloha ya oko apau and
Aye.
Kaina I only will come aina me oi, but now I am. And you know what? When you come over here, I'll take care of you, and when I go over there, I'll take care of you over there too.
Oh yeah.
Hoi hoi loa ke ia kuka pu ana o kako.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Mahalo nui to all of you.
Yeah. Mahalo,
That's
mahalo,
awesome.
mahalo.
Get back to work.
Yeah. Mahalo ka hui ana.
This is work.
Ahui ho kako.
Oko apau
Me ke aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha.